Hello and welcome to yet another video. Today we got something a little bit different. We have a Prime B450 Plus. This is an Asus board, AM4 platform as you can see. And I've mostly diagnosed this board and worked quite a lot of time on this, like 2 or 3 days, because it had a very interesting failure point that I had to get quite creative to find out a fix. And I want to show you the symptoms of this. We now see this is a riser connected to the first PCIe slot. This is our post card. Now if I apply power to our power supply, we see LEDs lighting up. And if we now press the power button right here, you see we don't get any postcodes. Well, for PCIe, it's often that. But you see the second red lamp right there? That is PCIe reset, which means this board is stuck in a reset loop. It never wants to start. It always has a reset line. This reset line needs to go low in order for the whole motherboard to go into its starting sequence. And I can show you why that is stuck. One moment, please. We are now around our Super I/O chip. This is this big chip here. This is an ITE chip, ITE8665E. As you can see on the top side, we have heavy damage. This was probably a screwdriver or something that you see ripped through right here. There was a 0 ohm resistor missing here that I replaced with just a calibrated wire. This transistor was missing from the beginning, and I had to replace some of the resistors on the way here. As you can see, some of them have leaded solder on them, like here you can see, like there. And the important part are going to be these two pads that we are going to focus today. If you're wondering, I tried to check all of these pads if they have continuity, and all of them did have continuity and the resistor values checked out. So I looked for all of these, but all of this looks good, and even these traces, which look damaged, but they are fine. I tested them in continuity mode, and these traces all are fine. So we are going to focus on these two traces, and I'm going to show you on the board view what they're meant for. Now you can see our board view. This is a B450 Plus, as I said. This is our Super I/O area, and this is the part what I want to talk about. This is true 3 volts. This is the 3 volts coming from the ATX power supply, and then you have O power OK reset. This, as far as I know, is for when all powers are detected okay on the board. It gives out this signal, so reset can be taken off by the Super I/O, or it sends a signal to the PCH and takes off reset. I'm not too sure about that, but this is our interested line. And what we had here normally is a 1K ohm resistor. With that 1K ohm resistor, what happened is that we had 3 volts here and we had about 1 volt at the bottom, which leads me to believe that the Super I/O is partially damaged. What that means is that with normal means of placing a 1K ohm resistor into there, cannot fix this board because it wouldn't boot up. It would be stuck in a in a reset loop. So I've tried something else, which is to short those two pins and give it 3 volts directly without any resistor in between. And I can show you that now. We're going to short this pad with this pad without tweezers. And for that, we're going back to our top view. You need to see the postcard. Like this should be fine. So we're turning our power on. Now I'm shorting those two pads with my tweezers. Now we're turning on. And as you can see, if I actually hit them properly, our PCIe reset is blinking, which means it takes off PCIe reset, but instantly applies it again. Takes it off, applies it again every time you see it. And with that, it's still stuck in a reset loop and cannot start. What we do if we take them off, we get a solid red light again, means PCI reset isn't even taken off. What we can do, what I've discovered is we turn this off again, we have a complete reboot, make sure that 3.3 volts is discharged, which would be the lowest LED. So we're turning it back on, and now we're going to start the board up. The board now starts, and what we're now going to do is we're now going to short them. And as you can hear, the board is starting actually. If you see the red light flicker, that's me not having good contact with my tweezers, but the board actually starts. So what I've discovered is that this board needs first a low signal while it's in the boot frequency, and then needs a high signal. It needs to see the voltage difference for it to start. You can also see, not only here, but the DRAM postcard now went to AF, which means it's posting. It now complains that there's no video card, but that is not very necessary. I think I'm gonna quickly build up a video card and show you that it actually posts with what I do. One moment, please. Now we got a test set up. As you can see now, we have a GPU plugged into here. We have a postcard where you can see the LEDs for PCI reset. In the top right, you see the Super IO with my tweezers. And in the bottom right, right there, you could see the post. So what we're now going to do is we're going to turn the power supply on. I need to plug in the cable. So now we have power on the board. We're going to not do that. We're going to hit the power button. Now you can see the red LED is on, which means reset is applied. Now I'm going to use my tweezers to short out the pin, and you can see PCIe reset is being taken off. The board restarts. I'm going to take off the tweezers again because it wants a low signal first. We start it again. Now I'm going to short these two pins out again. Now we have PCI reset taken off and the board beat, which means it's going to start. And we should get a picture on the bottom right. Every second now. Come on. And there's our boot screen. I'm going to wait a second, still holding our tweezers. I'm going to wait for BIOS. And there's BIOS. Now with the flip of a switch, we can turn it off. So now I was able to show you properly what this signal expects and what it should be. And why I sadly can't tell you why we have that problem, because the thing is it's only connected to 3 volts, the power OK from the ATX power supply, and I don't get how it should be low and then high again. Maybe it should be a slow build-up or anything, but what I expect that the Super IO is actually partially damaged because it takes a lot of current on that line and never builds up the 3.3 volts, even if there's 3.3 volts applied on the other side of the resistor. I tried to change the resistor that should be in place right here, but sadly it didn't work. So I'm going to switch up the build and I'm going to show you how I managed to fix this. See you later. So welcome back to my botch job. This is still a Prime B450 Plus board from Asus. And as you can see, a lot has happened. I spent quite some hours on this to get this working and to get it in a state where it holds and is fixed. It doesn't look great, but it works and it works reliably. So what you see is the star of our show today. This is the 545 timer chip right there. This makes it so that we get an input, which in this case is 5 volts, and after quite some time, depending on the value of the resistor and the capacitor, it switches its output, which is this pin, to high. This high signal then switches on this MOSFET at the top left here, and it powers its gate, which then leads 3.3 volts to going from drain to source. So what this timer does is it charges this capacitor to 5 volts and then discharges it with this resistor. And when this capacitor hits a threshold voltage on one of its sides while discharging, it puts its output high. And for that, we need to do quite some connections. This here is pin 1 in the top right. This is pin 5 in the top left, bottom left, and top left is pin 8. So pin 1 is connected through a diode that you can see down there, and this resistor to pin 2. To pin 2 is connected to pin 6. Pin 3 is our output that is connected with the MOSFET. Pin 4 is connected with pin 8. Pin 5 is not connected. Pin 6 is connected to one side of the capacitor. Pin 7 is not connected. Pin 8 is connected to VCC to 5 volts and one side of the capacitor. And also ground is on our first pin. So you see, I took ground from here. This was an empty pad. Took ground to go there. Our output, as I said, goes to the MOSFET. And on pin 8, we go to the top here, to that resistor. That is 5 volts that we're taking for the timer, because the timer only works with 5 volts to 12 or 15 volts, I think. So the 3.3 volts would not have been an option. As soon as this switches on, the MOSFET switches on. At the top, you can see that is 3.3 volts. The top right, that's our gate, and the top left is our drain that goes to our output. That is right there, that goes to our Super I/O. Let me quickly change to a different view, and I'm going to show you the schematics. So, right now, you can see our schematic. This is our 555 timer chip. We have pin 1 to pin 8, and then you can see every connection. Pin 1 goes to ground. Then between 1 and 2, we have one 3K ohm resistor, and these BAT54C. This is a diode junction. I just didn't have small diodes, so I used this because this is the smallest diodes that I have. So from this to there is a diode. Then pin 2 is also connected with pin 6. That's our blue line right here. Also, we have a connection from pin 2 with the capacitor, 820 microfarads, 6.3 volts, to pin 4. Pin 3 is our output. I will go further into that later. Pin 4 is connected via the red one, going to pin 8. On pin 8, we have our 5 volts. Pin 5 is not connected, pin 7 is not connected, and pin 6 is, like we said before, connected to pin 2. That is our timer already built up. And now we follow our output, which is about 4 volts, as you can see down here. This goes to the gate of the AO3400, which is an N-channel MOSFET. As soon as the gate is being driven with 4 volts by the 555 timer, we switch the 3 volts from the drain, the supply voltage, into our source, which is our SIO. And that is the whole schematic. I'm going to go closer if you want to copy any of this, if you need this. One more thing I gotta say. The credit for the schematic and the idea goes to Mafia67, as you can see on the bottom here. That is his YouTube channel. He fixes graphics card mostly, and I got the idea of fixing this mainboard like this from him because he fixed a 2080 Ti, I believe, like this with a 555 timer, and credit goes to him for the idea to do that. And now to show it off, I got a graphics card connected right here with DVI, which is that screen. We have our postcard. We have our botch job right down there. You can see it, but it is still there. We have everything connected. We're going to switch on the power supply. LEDs comes on. And now pay attention to here. Going to switch it on. Turns on. The red light is on. As you can see, PCI reset was stuck and it turned off. The board turns off again. Let's see if it starts by itself or we need to press it again. Let's press it again. Board turns on. PCI reset is stuck. It gets disabled or enabled, however you want to call it. And I hope you heard that. The board beeped. PCIe reset, as you can see, is no longer applied, which was our big problem, that we had constantly PCIe reset applied and our board wouldn't boot. As you can see in the bottom right now, there is our boot screen. We going into Windows. So that means this board is fixed. I wouldn't call it really fixed, but I wanted to do this to try it out. I've never built up a 555 timer before. Never had a problem like this, and now I got the opportunity to do so, and I wanted to take it, try it out. I'm going to fix it probably with some hot glue there. I think the SIO needs to be replaced on this board, but I don't have one, and I don't want to replace it because it's expensive and I don't really care about the sport. The experience that I got out of this is way more important for me. And I'm going to show you why I think the SIO is broken as well. One moment. Same setup as before, this time without an SSD. You can see again, red light turns off. Come on. Give us our post. There's our boot screen. And now we should see the BIOS. What you can see in the BIOS is the thing. You see, the motherboard temperature is really high. This board was just started and the motherboard temperature is almost 70 degrees by now. I don't think that's right. There might be a hotspot somewhere, but I doubt that the reading is right because as you can see, our CPU temperature is in the negative right now. -20, -7, -5. So I think the SIO is partially dead at least. And our VDDCR CPU voltage is 1.4 volts, which is way too much as well. The fan control seems to be fine. 783 RPM seems like it could be actual real. And everything else checks out. The frequency and the RAM and everything I've connected 4 DIMMs also does recognize 4 DIMMs and starts up with that. But I think the SIO is dead with the 69 volts, 69 degrees that we had right now. But I don't want to replace it. I'm going to keep this main board like this. I'm not going to sell it because you can't sell something like this. I'm probably either going to give it to a friend or something if they are in need, or just keep this board as a reminder of how I did it or that this is possible. But yeah, I'm just happy because I spent a lot of time on this. I went insane a couple of times, but I learned a lot because I've never built up a circuit like this. But it was very interesting for me to do it, and it felt so nice when at the end it actually worked. And also, I learned a lot about the timer, and that's one of the most important things, I think. Learning something while you go, gaining experience. And I hope you could learn something. And I brought you the closer a little bit to the 555 timer. And now we have this beautiful B550 board that sadly probably no one will use. But what you're gonna do? Have a great day and bye.